The girl no one wanted. The marketplace was loud. Creatures of many shapes and colors moved between stalls. They shouted prices, traded goods, and smelled of sweat and spices. In the middle of it all was a small metal cage. Inside the cage sat a girl. She was alien, thin and weak. Her skin was pale purple, her hair dark and tangled. She wore no clothes, only dirt and bruises. Her eyes were dull, her lips dry. She did not cry anymore. She had no tears left. A sign on the cage read, "Sold, damaged goods, no returns." No one stopped to look. No one cared. Some aliens spat at her. Some threw pebbles or laughed. A few children pointed and asked, "What's wrong with her?" Their parents pulled them away. The seller stood nearby, arms crossed, chewing something green. He shouted, "Cheap slave! She can't talk, can't fight, can't even walk right. Only one credit. Come on, take her off my hands." But still, no one bought her. The girl hugged her knees and looked down. Her body hurt, but her heart hurt more. She didn't remember when she last ate. She didn't remember her home, her name, or her family. All she knew was cold, hunger, and fear. Then, something changed. A shadow stopped in front of her cage. She didn't look up right away. She expected more spitting, more cruel words, but nothing came. Only silence. Finally, she lifted her head. Human stood there. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket and boots. His hair was short and messy. His eyes were sharp but not angry. He didn't speak, he didn't laugh, he just stared. The seller walked up. "You want this thing?" he said, chuckling. "She's useless, human. Worth less than garbage." The human kept staring. "She won't last long," the seller added. "Might die tonight. You sure you want to waste your credits?" The human opened a small pouch. He pulled out something shiny, a gold coin with an earth symbol on it. The seller's eyes widened. "For her? You're mad." The human said only one word. "Deal." The crowd nearby turned to watch. Some laughed. Some whispered. A few recorded the moment on their devices. The seller unlocked the cage, muttering, "She's yours now. Don't come crying when she drops dead." The human stepped inside the cage and bent down. Slowly, gently, he picked the girl up in his arms. She was too weak to resist. She just blinked, confused. Why didn't he hurt her? Why was he warm? Her head fell on his chest. Then everything went black. When she woke up, the world was quiet. She lay on something soft. A bed? The room around her was strange. Metal walls, small lights blinking, a hum in the air. She was inside a spaceship. She tried to sit up, but pain stopped her. "Easy," a voice said. She looked up. The human stood in the corner holding a cup. He walked over and placed it beside her. "Water," he said, pointing. She stared at it. He didn't force her. He didn't shout. He just stepped back. She waited. Was this a trick? After a long moment, her shaking hand reached out. She grabbed the cup and drank. It was cold. It was real. Tears filled her eyes. Real ones. The human placed a blanket over her. "Safe," he said. "You're safe." She didn't understand the words, but she felt the meaning. He didn't touch her again. He didn't ask for anything. He just sat on the floor across the room, watching, waiting. She looked at him. Her mind was full of fear, but also a strange feeling. Hope. That night she didn't sleep much. She watched the human as he fixed something on his ship. He looked strong but calm. He moved like someone who had seen too much pain. She wondered, why did he save her? She didn't know his name. She didn't even know if she would live through the night. But for the first time in a long, long time, she wasn't alone. And somewhere inside her broken heart, something small started to glow again. Something like life. She belongs to a human now. The girl woke up to a strange sound. It wasn't shouting or laughing or crying. It was something soft. Gentle. Music. A quiet melody floated through the ship. Strange. Calming. Warm. The sound touched a part of her soul that had been locked away. She opened her eyes. The bed was still soft beneath her, the blanket still warm. She looked around. The human was at a small table nearby, pressing buttons on a device. He wore no weapons, no armor, only a plain shirt with sleeves rolled up. He looked normal, peaceful, but to her everything about him was confusing. She sat up slowly, afraid he'd shout. He didn't. He turned and noticed her. His face showed no anger, just surprise. Then he smiled a little. She flinched. But still, he didn't come closer. He simply said, "Good morning." She didn't understand the words, but his tone was soft. His voice didn't carry pain. It was the voice of someone who didn't see her as a thing. He walked to a drawer and pulled out a bundle. A folded shirt and simple pants. Clean. He placed them on the bed. "For you?" She looked down at her bruised skin and old wounds, then at the clothes. She didn't move. The human stepped back and sat on the floor again, far away. Minutes passed. She watched him. Slowly she reached for the clothes. Her fingers trembled as she touched the fabric. She had forgotten what clean felt like. She tried to stand. Her legs shook, but she forced herself up. She didn't want to be weak anymore. In the next room was a small bathroom. She didn't know how to use the strange alien tools, but the water worked. It ran over her hands like magic. She washed her face. Her reflection in the mirror shocked her. Who is that? Her cheeks were thin, her eyes haunted. She barely looked like a person, but the clothes fit. Not perfectly, but enough. She stepped back into the main room. The human looked up and smiled again. "Better," he said. She blinked. He wasn't mocking her. He meant it. He placed a bowl on the table and pointed. "Eat." She looked at the food. It smelled warm and strange. She didn't know what it was, but her stomach growled. She stepped forward and sat across from him. Carefully, she picked up the spoon. It was metal and cold. She took one bite. Her eyes widened. It was good. She ate slowly at first, unsure if he would take it away. But he didn't. He just watched, calm and quiet. After a few more bites, she looked at him. "Why?" she whispered. Her voice was dry, weak, but he heard her. He paused, then said, "Because you matter." She didn't know what that meant, but it made her chest ache. That night, she lay on the bed, still dressed, still unsure. The ship was quiet. Lights dimmed. She thought she was alone. Then she heard a noise, a scream, her own scream. She sat up, gasping, her skin wet with sweat, her heart pounding. The human rushed in. "It's okay," he said. "Just a dream." She backed away, curling into the wall. She couldn't stop shaking. He didn't touch her. He knelt on the floor, hands open, empty. "I won't hurt you," he said again and again. "You're safe now, I promise." His voice was like the music from earlier, soft, strange, but comforting. She watched him, and after a long time, she believed him. She slowly slid off the bed and crawled toward him. Her hands touched his sleeve. "Adam," he said, pointing to himself. "Adam." She touched her chest, unsure what to say. He smiled. "You'll remember, when you're ready." She nodded slowly. From that night, something changed. She followed him around the ship, learning little things. She watched as he repaired wires and cleaned parts. He showed her buttons and screens. He even gave her a small tablet with simple images. He taught her words. Water. Food. Safe. Home. And one day when he asked, "What's your name?" she looked away. "I don't know," she said. He thought for a moment. "Then I'll call you Lyra," he said. "It means hope in an old Earth language." She said the name to herself. Lyra. It felt soft. But deep down, Lyra knew something else. Something she hadn't said yet. She wasn't just learning how to live again. She was starting to trust again, and that scared her more than anything. Learning to be a person. Again, Lyra woke up to light. Not harsh lights like the cage. Not flickering, broken ones. These lights were warm, soft, gentle on her skin. She stretched her arms, slowly. Her body still hurt, but she could move better. Now. She heard soft footsteps. The human, Adam, was already up, walking around the ship. His voice hummed quietly, like he was talking to the ship itself. For the first time, Lyra didn't feel fear when she heard him coming. She stood and walked out of her room. Her legs were stronger today. Adam turned and smiled. "Good morning, Lyra." She gave a small nod. Just a little one, but he noticed. His smile grew. She liked that. After breakfast, he gave her a strange device. A flat screen with symbols. On it, he tapped it. Pictures and sounds appeared. It showed words in his language and hers. "Learn," he said, handing it to her. Lyra stared at the glowing screen. She had never used a tool like this. She barely remembered how to read, but she wanted to try for him. Every day she practiced. She learned the human words slowly. Door, chair, ship, star, water, name, safe, friend. Adam would speak them then, wait for her to repeat. Sometimes she got it wrong. He never laughed. He only tried again, patient as always. Sometimes he drew pictures on the wall screen. Silly shapes. Stick figures. One tall and strong, labeled Adam. One smaller, with pointy ears and labeled Lyra. She giggled the first time he showed her. It felt strange to laugh. It felt new. Lyra also started helping around the ship. She cleaned surfaces, picked up tools, and even helped carry things. She wanted to prove she wasn't weak anymore. One day, Adam watched her lift a heavy box and said, "Strong." She smiled, not because of the word, but because he meant it. At night, she sat by the window looking at stars. They floated outside, cold and beautiful. Lyra pressed her hand to the glass. Somewhere, out there, was the world she came from. But she didn't miss it. She looked over at Adam, who was fixing wires nearby. She didn't understand him fully. Not yet. But she trusted him. That trust scared her more than pain. One evening, she found a strange object in a drawer, a mirror. She held it up and froze. The girl, in the reflection, looked tired, but alive. Her eyes had color again, her skin was cleaner. Her hair, though wild, was brushed. She almost didn't recognize herself. Adam walked in and saw her staring at it. "You're beautiful," he said softly. Lyra turned away, shaking her head. He didn't force her to believe it. He just left a small box beside the mirror. Inside was a simple silver necklace, a charm in the shape of a leaf. "Gift," he said. She stared at it, touched it gently. No one had ever given her something before. Not without asking for something in return. "Why?" she whispered. Adam looked into her eyes. "Because you're not property," he said. "You're someone." That night, Lyra lay in bed, fingers wrapped around the necklace. She whispered a word in human tongue. "Thank you." It was the first time she had said those words in years. The next morning, something new happened. A red light blinked on the ship's main screen. A warning. Adam stood up quickly. "Trouble," he said, face serious. Lyra followed him to the cockpit. The screen showed a message. "Incoming scan. Local authorities." He turned to her. "They're checking all ships. If they find you, they might take you back." She froze. Not back. Never back. Adam looked at her. "I won't let them, but you have to choose, unhide or come with me." Lyra didn't need to think. She reached out and grabbed his hand. "I stay," she said. Adam smiled. "Then we fight this together." And just like that, the girl who once couldn't even walk stood beside a human, ready to protect her new life. She wasn't just learning words, she was learning how to be a person again. The trouble finds them. The ship drifted quietly near a cold moon, away from trade routes, far from curious eyes. Inside, things were peaceful. Lyra sat at the table, practicing human words on the screen Adam gave her. She could now say full sentences, slowly but clearly. "Where are we going today?" she asked, proud of herself. Adam smiled while checking the ship's power core. "Nowhere. We stay hidden today. Quiet is good." Lyra nodded. Quiet was good. Safe was better. But safety doesn't last long in space. That evening, a sharp alarm echoed through the ship. Beep, beep, beep. The screen flashed red. Unidentified ship approaching. Adam rushed to the cockpit, his eyes narrowed. No ID tag, too fast, not friendly. Lyra stood frozen behind him. "Is it slavers?" she asked, voice shaking. Adam checked the scanner. "Could be, or bounty hunters. Either way, we're not staying to find out." He flipped switches. The engines roared to life. "Hold on." The ship turned sharply and sped toward the asteroid belt. Huge space rocks floated like sleeping giants. One hit and they'd be dust, but Adam knew what he was doing. The enemy ship followed close behind. Lyra held onto the wall, eyes wide. She wasn't afraid of space anymore, but being hunted made her chest hurt again. Like she was back in the cage. Why are they chasing us?" she asked. Adam's voice was firm. "Because they found out you're not just a slave. You're important to someone." Lyra blinked. "I'm not important." "You are now," Adam said. The chase went on. The ship rocked left then right, dodging blasts. One shot hit the side. Alarm screamed. "We've got a leak in Chamber 3, Adam shouted. Lyra ran, no longer scared to help. She grabbed tools and sealed the pipe like he had shown her. Her hands moved fast, steady. Her fear had turned into focus. The ship shook again. Adam gritted his teeth. "They're trying to disable us, not kill. They want you alive." He opened a secret panel. Inside was a small black box with blinking lights. "What is that?" Lyra asked. "A trick," he said. "A very old trick." He pressed a button. Suddenly, the human ship released a cloud of debris and heat. To the scanners, it looked like an explosion. A death. The enemy ship stopped. No signal. No sign of life. They scanned once, twice, then turned around and left. Silence. Lyra's chest rose and fell. Her hands were shaking, but her heart beat steady. Adam leaned back, sweat on his forehead. "We're safe for now." Lyra walked toward him slowly, placed a hand on his arm. "You saved me again." He shook his head. "We saved each other." Later they sat on the floor, too tired to speak. The ship was quiet again. Lyra stared at the stars through the window. "Why do they want me?" she asked softly. Adam hesitated. "Didn't tell you everything," he said. "I found something in the slave records, your face, your blood type. It's connected to someone powerful, a royal family." Lyra laughed, a small bitter sound. "Me? Royal? You were taken during a power struggle. They erased your identity, sold you far away so no one could find you." She closed her eyes. "I don't want to be royal. I just want to be me." Adam nodded. "Then we'll protect that, no matter what it takes." The next day, they landed on a small repair station built inside an old asteroid. The place was dark and greasy. Half the lights didn't work. The workers looked tired and unfriendly. But it was the only place nearby where they could fix the damage. Adam gave her a coat and said, "Stay close. Don't speak. Let me handle this." She nodded. But deep inside, her instincts told her something was wrong. As they walked through the halls, A tall alien with scarred skin watched them from the shadows. He pulled out a device and whispered, "Found her." Inside the workshop, Adam argued with the mechanic. Prices were too high. Work was too slow. Lyra stood nearby, quiet but alert. That's when the lights cut out. A voice shouted from behind, "Step away from the girl." Adam spun around, gun drawn. 3 armed bounty hunters entered the room. "She's coming with us," one growled. "You don't understand what she is." Adam moved in front of her. "I understand enough. You're not taking her." Lyra trembled, but she didn't hide. She stepped beside Adam. "I'm not property. Not anymore." The bounty hunter laughed. "You don't have a choice." Lyra whispered, "Yes, I do." In a flash, she grabbed a metal rod from the table and struck the nearest one's arm. Adam used the moment to fire. Sparks flew. Tools scattered. One bounty hunter fell. Another ran. The third tackled Adam, but Lyra hit him again, harder this time. Adam kicked him off and stunned him with a shock blast. Panting, they stood in the wrecked workshop. Lyra's hands were bleeding, but she stood tall. "You fought," Adam said. She nodded. "I'm done being helpless." They ran back to the ship, launched into space, and vanished into the stars again. As the asteroid station disappeared behind them, Lyra looked at her reflection in the dark glass. "I'm not who I was," she said softly. Adam looked at her. "No. You're becoming who you were meant to be." Her past returns. The ship floated in deep space, far from war zones, far from markets. But inside, a war had started in Lyra's heart. She sat alone in the ship's sleeping chamber, staring at a small glowing screen. It showed a photo, grainy and faded but clear enough. A little alien girl stood smiling in royal clothes held between 2 tall, proud figures. One was a queen, the other a king. They looked like her. Her hands shook. "I know this face," she whispered. "It's me." Adam stood behind her, silent. He didn't want to speak too soon. He had spent days digging through old records, crossing codes, chasing forgotten data trails. And now, here was the truth. The girl he had rescued wasn't just another slave. She was our Lyra of House Valen, daughter of a fallen royal family, sold as a child, hidden, broken, but not lost. "I thought this might be you," Adam said quietly. "The slavers erased your name, changed your records, but DNA doesn't lie." Lyra kept staring. "This can't be real." Adam walked to her side. "It is." Later, Lyra stood by the ship's window, hugging her arms. Stars drifted by, cold and endless. "I don't remember the palace," she said. "I don't remember my parents. Only cages. Hunger. Pain." "You were just a child when they took you," Adam replied. "They didn't just want to kill your family. They wanted to erase them." Lyra clenched her fists. "They almost did." The next day, a message came through the ship's old comms, encrypted, broken, but real. Adam decoded it. A voice spoke, calm and regal. "This is Keshna Velen. If our Lyra lives, know that she is not forgotten. The bloodline lives through her, and we are waiting." Lyra's breath caught. "She's my aunt? Cousin," Adam said. "She survived the palace attack. She's part of the Velen resistance now, trying to take back what was stolen." Lyra turned away. "So they want me to come back. Not because I'm me, but because I'm useful." Adam stepped closer. "What do you want?" Lyra didn't answer right away. That night she looked at herself in the mirror again. Not the dirty girl from the cage, not the quiet ghost who hid behind a human. Now she saw someone stronger, someone whole. "I want to see it for myself," she finally said. "Where I came from, what I lost, what I want to protect." 3 days later, they landed on New Velen, a hidden moon where the resistance rebuilt its shattered culture. It was not a palace, but it was something close. made of stone, silver, and light. Lyra wore a simple cloak, no crown, no fancy clothes. When she stepped into the grand hall, dozens of eyes turned and silence fell. Someone whispered, "She's alive." Keshna, a tall woman with silver hair and a hard face, walked toward her. She bowed deeply. "My princess, we feared you were gone." Lyra stepped back. "Don't call me that." Keshna looked up. "What should we call you then?" "Just Lyra, that's the name I earned." In a quiet chamber they sat and talked. Keshna showed her pictures, maps, history. Her mother had been kind. A queen of peace, her father had died defending the gates of the palace. "You were their only child," Keshna said softly. "Their legacy lives in you." "But I don't want to be a symbol," Lyra whispered. "I just want to be real." Keshna nodded. "Then help us build something real." Later, Adam and Lyra stood outside under the twin moons. "It's strange," she said. "I thought learning the truth would make me feel strong. But it just makes me feel heavy." Adam looked at her. "Because truth carries weight. But now you can decide what to do with it." She looked into his eyes. "Would you have saved me if I wasn't royal?" He answered without hesitation. "Yes. I didn't save a princess. I saved a person." Her heart fluttered, not out of romance, but something deeper. Trust. Maybe the deepest trust she had ever felt. That night, Lyra made a decision. She walked back into the hall, stood before the resistance leaders, and said, "I'm not here to take a throne. I'm not here to wave banners, but I won't run anymore. You don't need a queen. You need someone brave enough to face the ones who broke this world." She took a deep breath. "And I am ready." In a corner, Adam smiled, because in that moment, not with gold or armor, but with words, she became something greater than a princess. She became a leader. A deal with the enemy. The palace lights dimmed as night fell over the quiet moon. But Lyra couldn't sleep. She stood in the high tower alone, the stars reflecting in her eyes. She had learned the truth about her past, but it only brought more questions. She was our Lyra, a name tied to power, war, and blood, but she had no crown, no throne, and no desire to rule. She didn't want to be used, not by bounty hunters, not by royals, not even by those who claimed to be her family. Behind her, a soft voice broke the silence. "You're awake again," Adam said, walking up the stairs. Lyra nodded. "I keep thinking, if I walk away now, will the galaxy leave me alone?" Adam leaned on the balcony beside her. "No, you're too important now." She sighed. "Then maybe I should stop running." He raised an eyebrow. "What are you thinking?" She looked up, her voice firm. "I want to go back to the palace that took everything from me, the place they sold me from. I want to see it with my own eyes, stand where they tried to erase me." Adam blinked. "That place is under control of the very people who destroyed your family." "Exactly," she said. "Which is why they won't expect me." The next morning she stood before Keshna and the council. "I want to go back to the inner core, to Velen Prime." Gasps filled the room. A gray-skinned alien spoke. "That world is now ruled by House Tharok. They stole your throne." "I know," Lyra said. "That's why I want to face them." Another counselor warned, "You'll be captured on sight. It's suicide." Adam stepped forward. "Not if we go undercover." Keshna crossed her arms. "You plan to walk into a nest of enemies? What for?" Lyra's voice was clear. "I want to look my enemies in the eyes and tell them, I'm not broken, I'm not theirs, and I'm not afraid." They created a plan, a dangerous one. Lyra and Adam would travel to Velen Prime in disguise, using a merchant ship, pretending to be smugglers delivering rare tech. Inside the ship's hidden panels were secret data drives, files stolen from the original palace before its fall, evidence of crimes, names of traitors. If they could deliver this information to the resistance living in the city's shadows, House Tharok would be exposed to the galaxy. But to do that, Lyra had to walk back into the heart of darkness. 2 days later, the small freighter ship landed on Velen Prime. The skies above were red and burning. Pollution hung in the air like smoke. The once beautiful capital was now cold and metal, a city of control towers, scanners, and watch drones. Lyra wore a hood and dark cloak. Her skin was painted dull gray with a chemical spray, her eyes hidden behind lenses. Adam carried a case of fake tech parts. A forged ID chip burned softly on his wrist. As they passed through the gates, no one stopped them. No one recognized the former princess who had once played in these very halls, but Lyra's hands were shaking inside her sleeves. They walked through ruined streets. Statues of her family had been destroyed. Graffiti marked the walls. "Obey Tharok," it read. No past, no rebels, no mercy. Every corner had eyes. Drones buzzed overhead. Adam kept his voice low. "You okay?" Lyra nodded. "I remember this place, but it's like a nightmare now." He gave a small smile. "Well, let's wake it up." They reached a hidden alley where a symbol was scratched into the stone. A broken crown. Lyra touched it. A door slid open. Inside were figures in cloaks and armor. The Resistance. Their leader, a short alien with glowing eyes, stepped forward. "We were told you'd come," she said. "But we didn't believe it." Lyra pulled off her hood. "I believe in proof," she said. She handed over the data chip. The Resistance leader plugged it in, and the screen showed stolen footage, secret meetings, payments, documents with names of traitors and corrupt leaders. The room went silent. "This," the leader said, "this will break House Tharok." Lyra nodded. "Then do it. Let the truth speak louder than power." Suddenly, alarms blared outside. They'd been tracked. The doors slammed shut. Resistance fighters grabbed weapons. Adam pulled Lyra behind a metal crate. The wall exploded. Elite soldiers of House Tharok stormed in, shouting commands. But Lyra didn't run. She stood up. Her voice rang through the smoke. "I am our Lyra of House Velen. You stole my family. You tried to erase me, but I'm still here." The soldiers froze. Some looked at her with wide eyes. Some lowered their weapons. "You don't have to serve monsters," she shouted. "This is your world too." A moment of silence. Then one soldier dropped his gun, then another. Chaos turned to confusion. And in that moment, the Resistance attacked. The battle didn't last long. Not because of power, but because of truth. The soldiers didn't want to fight a girl who had lost everything. A girl who had come back not for revenge, but for justice. Lyra stood on the steps of the city's main tower, smoke behind her, stars above. Crowds gathered. The message had spread. The footage was shared across systems. The crimes of House Tharok were exposed. Keshnah's voice came through the comms. "It's working. You did it." Adam looked at her. "What now?" Lyra stared into the sky. "Now, I make my own future. From trash to queen." And he was her first choice. The city of Velen Prime burned under twin suns. Smoke rose from shattered towers. Sirens echoed through every street. Holograms of the fallen royal crest flashed across walls that once praised the enemy. House Tharok had fallen, but this wasn't a story of war. This was the moment the galaxy watched a girl no one wanted become the queen no one could deny. Lyra stood on the grand balcony of the palace, her palace, not in a golden dress, not with a heavy crown, but in armor made of dark silver, the leaf-shaped necklace Adam gave her still resting around her neck. A symbol of who she was before all this. A reminder. The crowd below, aliens, humans, and even former enemies, looked up, waiting, not for a ruler, for her. It had taken weeks to get here. After exposing House Tharok's secrets and freeing Velen Prime with the Resistance, the galaxy responded. Systems sent aid, lost families returned. The city began to breathe again, and every voice, every message, every broadcast all spoke the same name, our Lyra Velen. But in her heart, she was still Lyra, the girl in the cage, and she hadn't forgotten. Keshna entered the hall behind her, holding a royal scroll. "Everything is ready," she said. "The throne is yours." Lyra turned quiet. "I don't want a throne," Keshna smiled. "You don't have to want it. It's yours anyway." Lyra stepped forward, hands behind her back. "People died to build this city again. Not for a crown, but for a chance. I won't make it about me." Keshna nodded. "Then make it about them." The doors opened. Lyra walked into the throne room, not as a queen returning, but as a survivor stepping into the past she was never meant to claim. Statues of her family stood covered in dust. The floor was cracked. The banners were faded. Adam stood at the far end, waiting. She stopped in front of him. He looked her up and down with a grin. "You clean up nice," she smirked. "You still look like a mechanic. Someone has to fix this place after your speeches." Lyra looked into his eyes. "You stayed. Through all of it." "I always would," he said softly. The ceremony was simple. By her command. No golden robes. No bowing. No high priests. Just Lyra, standing before the people speaking the truth. "I am not here to rule you," she began. "I am here because once I was forgotten, beaten, sold like trash." She paused, her voice steady, her chin high, and a human stranger looked at me as and saw a person. She turned to the crowd. "You don't need kings and queens. You need each other. So let this be a home again, not a palace." She stepped down. Silence. Then, cheers. Louder than war, stronger than power. Later that evening, in a quiet garden behind the palace, Adam sat on a bench. Lyra walked out, still in armor, her shoulders finally relaxed. "You did it," he said. She shrugged. "We did it." He looked up. "They're calling you queen now. I didn't say yes, but they already follow you." She sat beside him. A soft wind passed through the alien trees. Their leaves glowed faint blue under the stars. Lyra closed her eyes. "I used to think I'd never be more than that girl in a cage." Adam glanced at her. "You've always been more." She smiled, then whispered, "You changed everything." Adam looked down. "I just gave you food and a blanket. You gave me a reason to live." A long silence passed between them. No speeches, no titles, no orders, just Lyra and Adam. Then she turned, her voice softer than ever. "You never asked for anything in return, not even thanks." Adam gave a small smile. "I didn't save you to earn something." She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small piece of gold, a broken chain from the cage where he first found her. She placed it in his hand. "You freed me," she said. "Not just from them, from myself." Adam swallowed hard. "Lyra." But she wasn't done. She stood and stepped in front of him. "Everyone wants me to choose ministers, soldiers, advisors." She held out her hand. "I choose you." Adam looked at her in shock. "You don't mean—" "I do," she said. "If I have to stand in front of this galaxy and declare something—" Her eyes locked with his. "I want it to be you were my first choice. Always." He stood slowly. "I'm no royal," he said. "I don't want royal," she replied. "I want real." And so, under the moonlight of a world once lost, a former slave and a wandering human made a vow with no audience, no crown, and no rules. A vow not of power, but of trust, of survival, of love, quiet and true. Epilogue years passed. Lyra never sat on a golden throne. She led from the streets, the farms, the shipyards. The city became a place of healing, of rebuilding. Children grew up learning her story, not because she was a queen, but because she refused to give up. And at her side, always, was the man who had once opened a cage in a dirty alien market. The man who didn't see a slave. He saw a soul, and that made all the difference.